Hey everyone, and welcome to this Explainer. Today we're diving into a really powerful ancient folktale about an extraordinary farmer named Mandar. Now, this story is rooted in the little village of Champavan, but honestly, its themes of sacrifice, devotion, and just this profound love for your roots, they resonate everywhere. We're going to break down Mandar's journey to see how one person's absolute selflessness can literally change the fate of an entire community. So get comfortable, because this story is really going to challenge how you think about loyalty and the places we call home.
So let me ask you a question right off the bat. If your village and your own people completely abandon you, would you stay for your motherland? It's a heavy question, right? Put yourself in Mandar's shoes for a second. Imagine watching everything you know just crumble, seeing the people you love pack their bags, and being left with nothing but this overwhelming sense of duty to the soil that raised you. Well, this wasn't just some hypothetical thought experiment for Mandar. This was his agonizing reality.
And, it's pretty easy to see why everyone was fleeing. To really get it, you gotta picture the contrast. Just 1 year ago, Champavan was this lush, vibrant place. You had a flowing river bringing life to these massive, towering trees. But today, a devastating year-long drought has left the soil dry and deeply cracked. The trees are just bowing in defeat. And get this, the well water has literally turned black. It's just a profound level of hopelessness. The village is dying right in front of their eyes.
And when the environment collapses like that, society usually follows right behind it. Mandar's closest friend, Sudhir, basically tells him he's crazy for staying. He says straight up that he and his family are abandoning Champavan. Now for Mandar, that soil still holds the memories of his childhood, his parents' hard work. But for Sudhir, survival has to come first. And this is really where Mandar's deep isolation begins. I mean, when your absolute best friend gives up, the burden suddenly feels twice as heavy, doesn't it?
But the heartbreak gets even worse. Mandar goes home only to find 2 packed bags waiting by the door. His own wife, Karuna, gives him this devastating ultimatum. She absolutely refuses to just sit and starve in a barren wasteland. She tells him point blank that until he gets some sense and decides to leave, she's going back to her family. So with Karuna gone, Mandar loses his very last emotional anchor. He is now entirely, 100% alone in a ghost town.
Okay, so what does Mandar do next? Does he finally break? No way. Every single day, Mandar walks 10 staggering miles in the blistering heat. 10 miles! Just to fetch a tiny amount of water and sell some wood so he can barely survive. The physical toll of that is just mind-blowing, but it perfectly captures his unyielding stubbornness and his absolute dedication to his roots.
Which brings us to the ultimate test of character. Picture this scene. Mandar is completely parched. His vision is literally blurring from the heat, and he's about to drink the very last drops of water from his pot. Out of nowhere, this exhausted, thirsty old man stumbles up to him and begs for a sip. So what does Mandar do? He looks at his own empty future, smiles, and just gives the water away. All of it. He gives away his only lifeline, completely unaware that this one little act of kindness is about to flip his destiny upside down.
Because, as you might have guessed, the old man isn't just an old man. The second the water is given, he transforms. He reveals himself to be Bhairav Baba. Now, in their folklore, Bhairav Baba is the divine guardian deity of Champavan, and he's known to test mortals and reward true, selfless devotion. Baba looks at a weeping Mandar and tells him that real devotion isn't just believing when things are great, it's holding on to your faith in the absolute darkest times. Mandar passed the test.
So Baba rewards him with this magical pot, a divine kalash. But this gift comes with some intensely strict conditions. Mandar can pour its endless magical water onto his fields, essentially holding the fate of the village in his hands. But here is the uncompromising catch. He must never give the pot to anyone else. If he hands it over, the new person can use it, sure, but Mandar will lose its magic for himself forever. Keep that rule in mind, guys, because it's going to be a huge deal later on.
So Mandar takes the pot, and the timeline of this rebirth is just miraculous. On day 1, the cracked earth just drinks that water right up and turns moist and rich. A few weeks later, right where there was nothing but dust, lush green crops shoot up, and by harvest time, Mandar brings in this unprecedented, massively abundant yield. It's literal proof that his unwavering love for the soil is bearing fruit.
But right at the absolute peak of this success, Mandar has a massive reality check. He looks out past his own thriving green property and sees that the rest of Champavan is still dead and withered, and it hits him hard.
He actually says, "Forgive me, Baba. In the greed for my fields, I forgot the village." He realizes that true devotion to his homeland isn't about enriching himself. His love for the soil has to include the whole community, not just his own little backyard.
So instead of just kicking back and enjoying his newfound wealth, Mandar gets to work in secret. He takes that magical pot, and day and night he waters the dried-out forests. He literally goes into his neighbors' abandoned fields and starts plowing and irrigating them for them. He basically takes it upon himself to revive the entire ecosystem of Champavon. At this point, he's not just a farmer, he's the caretaker of the whole village.
Naturally, word of this absolute miracle spreads like wildfire. And it leads to this incredible contrast. Remember how Karuna left in total despair and frustration? Well, she returns in absolute awe. Seeing the village literally breathing again, she realizes the sheer power of Mandar's stubborn faith. She apologizes for ever doubting him, and they have this beautiful reunion right there in the fields. His love didn't just save the dirt, it brought his family back together.
But, with success comes drama, right? As the village turns green again, the people who abandoned it start coming back. Enter a guy named Anand. Anand walks in, sees the magnificent crops that Mandar painstakingly grew on his abandoned property, and arrogantly goes, "The land is mine, so the harvest is mine too." He even accuses Mandar of trying to profit off their absence. It's this super tense, deeply unfair moment.
So how does our hero react? Does he fight back? Nope. Mandar peacefully surrenders the crops, just completely lacks any ego about it. He even refuses the money they try to offer him for his hard work. He simply tells them that his only wish was to hear the birds sing and see the trees turn green again. And that stunning display of humility just totally disarms Anand and the rest of them. It instantly earns Mandar their deep, genuine respect.
But here's where things get really tricky. The villagers start realizing a terrifying truth. While Mandar's fields are thriving, their own new seeds won't sprout at all. The magic is strictly localized to Mandar's touch. They get desperate. They beg him for his secret, which backs Mandar into an agonizing corner. Will he save the village at the cost of his own fields? Remember the rule of the kalash. The stakes are astronomically high here.
You can just imagine the internal conflict going on in his head. He remembers Bhairav Baba's strict warning. If he gives the pot away, he loses the magic forever. He looks at this pot, his only source of prosperity, his safety net, and then he looks at the desperate faces of the exact same people who left him to die. And yet, pushing past all that resentment, he makes a choice. He reveals the secret of the kalash to them.
He actually makes the ultimate sacrifice. Mandar tells them, if the whole village can be saved in exchange for my fields, what could be better than this? He willingly chooses to forfeit his own magical advantage, his own guaranteed survival, just to make sure his community can thrive. It is literally the absolute peak of selflessness. But literally, right as the exchange is about to happen, the supernatural steps in. As Mandar reaches out to hand over the kalash, this blinding, divine light erupts straight out of the pot. It stops everyone dead in their tracks. The villagers are terrified. Mandar drops to his knees. It's clear that this moment of sacrifice just triggered something way bigger than the magic of the pot itself.
Out of that blinding light, Bhairav Baba reappears and he delivers this incredibly powerful message. He says, "Your sacrifice and love are such that they would captivate even the gods." Baba reveals that the whole never give it away rule wasn't just some random condition. It was the final, ultimate test of Mandar's character. Would he hoard the blessing, or would he sacrifice it for the greater good? Mandar passed brilliantly. He proved his heart was completely pure.
And the reward for passing that test? It's absolutely spectacular. Suddenly, thunder roars across the sky. The heavens just open up. After a grueling, deadly year of drought, heavy, natural, life-giving rain finally pours down on the entire village of Champavon. The villagers are just dancing and weeping in the rain. Mandar didn't even need to share a magic pot. His pure heart brought the real rain back to the whole world.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, the moral is crystal clear. True love for your roots and just absolute selflessness can literally move the heavens and change the fate of an entire community. Mandar started out with nothing but a stubborn loyalty to some dry dirt, and through relentless, egoless giving, he resurrected an entire ecosystem and society.
Which leaves us with a kinda uncomfortable but really important question to think about. In our modern pursuit of individual success, climbing the ladder, how often do we actually sacrifice for the community that raised us?
Look, we might not have magical pots or divine guardians popping up to test us, but Mandar's story really challenges us to look at our own fields and ask, are we watering our communities or are we just watering ourselves? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning and keep reflecting. Catch you next time.